My poll tax certificate from 1960 when we had to pay $2 or $3 to vote, and we only made $2 or $3. So you had to choose between eating or voting. That was the suppression back in the 60s. If you missed 1 year, they doubled it up on you the next year. I didn't have to pay because I was a veteran. So this is my exemption certificate, but I had to show it. So when they say you don't have to show ID, we've been showing ID since we started voting.
Positive energy all the time. Rep your city, everybody on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and Facebook. I am representing Chicago, Illinois via my parents from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Uniontown, Alabama, and Decatur, Alabama. My mother is from Uniontown and Birmingham because her father lived in Uniontown, and her mother, when they split up, she moved to Birmingham. My father, his family is from Decatur, Alabama, but originally they lived up on a mountain that was taken from them that had lots of natural resources. If I'm not mistaken, it was called Trinity Mountain. Yep. If I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yep. Trinity Mountain is only 8 miles from Decatur, Alabama. So that's exactly where my father's father is from. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather's father made the military brick style or cement style. I don't know what you call them. They're like borders, like shields from the ground, like a solid, like something like this on the ground, and you would be behind and shoot, and this is the ground. And this is small, like a barrier. I forgot what those are called, where the soldiers could lay down on the ground and put their guns over and shoot. Well, my great-great-grandfather made those down there in Alabama for the military. And he ran away and ran up to Trinity Mountain and built a couple of them for itself to defend itself and have an angle where he could look down when nobody could come up there and get him. So my father's grandfather was basically what you would call a runaway slave. My father's side of the family was very militant. Not my father, or he didn't express it, but his nephews and granddaddy and them were very trenches. Yeah, I thought a trench is something you dig. Let's see. No, a trench is something you dig. Not trenches. It's something else. I don't. I don't see it. Parapets? No, it's not a parapet. It says parapets. Yeah, it's called parapets. I think. Not sure. Jersey barriers and T-walls. Yeah, I used to make those. I have to look that up to find out what exactly it was called. But that's my great great grandfather, and he escaped and ran up to Trinity Mountain and used his weapons to defend himself so nobody could come up there and capture him. And then he gave birth to my grandfather, who gave birth to 13 children. Really 15, but two died in birth. So my father is the youngest of 13. So today is the Memorial Day. Yeah, that was back. Yeah, it would have to be. That would have to be. That would have to be around the Civil War. Yeah, because the Civil War was from 1861 to 1865, And my great grandmother was born in 1876. So she was born a little bit after the Civil War. That's my mother's mother. My mother and father are the same age. My father is the baby. So yeah, that would definitely be around the Civil War. Because for my father to be in the baby, there was a long period before he was born. So my father's father would be much older than my mother's father. Yeah. So, slavery wasn't a long time ago, like people try to make it seem. And so we're going to talk about that. But yeah, it's the 250th birthday of the country. That's very interesting. So they are celebrating that. Yes, my mother's grandmother, she's Reconstruction baby. I don't have any pictures of my grandfather's mother, but this is my on my father's side, but this is my grandfather's mother on my mother's side. I do have pictures of him. I gotta put up pictures of my grandfather on my mother's side. And so it's nice out in Chicago, almost 80 degrees, about 78. A lot of people are gonna get out, try to enjoy the weather. I often like to show my older relatives for the younger people to see that when we're talking about slavery and reparations, we're not talking as far back as you might think. I think a lot of younger people think that was way longer than it actually was. And that next younger generation, like my children's age, they're kind of far removed from anything, you know? So they're far removed from anything. They're much different than I am. Of course, I was born in 1958, so I was highly affected by the Black Power movement. So the Black Power movement was at a serious point in my life where I was beginning to really take on what's going on in the world. And because it was so entrenched in black life, especially in the major cities up north, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, but especially Chicago. So I kind of was affected by that. Chicago had the largest chapter of the Black Panther Party. So Yeah, he wants to give money to the people that stormed the Capitol building. Um, it's just hard to even speak on that. What's going on with that? I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. Uh, I don't really understand the whole Donald Trump phenomenon. I don't really get it too much. Maybe it's racism. Maybe too many blacks were doing well. Too many whites wasn't. You know, maybe. I could have been a white man sitting back not doing so well, which a lot of them still aren't. And I got to look at, you know, all these Hispanics and blacks and Asians. I feel like, they're going to feel like our family was the ones that fought and did everything. So, you know, what are we getting? And I would agree. I would agree that white America ain't been treated correctly. I would agree with that. I don't agree with stacking a whole bunch of immigrants on top of white Americans. I can say that because we're not immigrants. We are descendants of slavery. Now, not every last one of us, but still, it's the descendants of slavery that made all the moves. So I don't like what the Biden administration and what I don't like what the Democratic uh, government has did in terms of immigration. I thought it was highly disrespectful. I thought it was total mismanagement. I think it damaged the country. It could still ruin the country eventually because now they got to try to figure out how to get all these people out of here. And it's not a matter of hating immigrants or nothing like that. It's like having three children and then you go adopt two children and you feed them and you take care of them and you give them the things you didn't give the other three. So when you start bringing in immigrants and giving them all this stuff where everybody else had to struggle, you know, that's not cool. That's like total mismanagement. So a lot of white Americans, rightfully so, hate the Democratic Party. I don't blame them. And I don't know why black people respect the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party was only doing that so they wouldn't have to do nothing for us. And the Democratic Party was like, well, man, we don't want blacks to be this powerful in the Democratic Party. Let's let a whole bunch of Hispanics and Asians in and take away some of their power. And that's exactly what they did. And so the Democratic Party have definitely sold black Americans out. They're a disgrace to me. They sold us out. And so Trump is the uh, results of that mismanagement. And so what are you gonna do? You're gonna hate him, but you the reason he's here. Yeah, so it don't make much sense. And so, yeah, America's going to be celebrating all summer the 250 years of the country all through July. But that also means it's 250 years of my money that they owe me and my descendants. So let's get that part straight. That's a $250 debt owed. And now, the only reason reparations ain't going nowhere is because the black man in America is a bum, a bozo, and he rather cheer for sports teams and stuff like that. As a whole, the black man's America is a disgrace to his race. 100%. He's a total disgrace. And when you look at slavery and the mistreatment of black people, the black people didn't even get a chance to hardly speak for themselves until the civil rights movement. So that means all these freedoms and stuff we got is new. And so imagine you're not trying to go back, right? You're not trying to go back and right the wrongs that happened to your great grandmother and stuff like that. You all on the internet talk about, right? Ba da da and da da da. You know what I'm saying? You all on the internet talk about da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? You run around behind goofy religion fanatic, separatists, but you ain't really standing on nothing that the ancient people that you say you are, you ain't nothing like them. You ain't nothing like them people that left Egypt. You're not. You're a failure. You and your religion is a failure. You're a failure. Your brothers, when they got into religion, they used religion for tribalism. They put religion over the benefit of their people and their relatives. Because right now, if I say I'm a Moor, or I say I'm a Rasta, or I say I'm a Muslim, my sister not, my cousins not, my nieces and nephews and their children not, my grandchildren not. So at what point am I going to separate myself into being a Hebrew Israelite or a Rasta or a Muslim and separate myself from my family that might be all type of stuff or nothing? So at what point are you righteous when you put a religious concept over your own family or any type of concept to separate you from your family? You know, out here as a young comedic roster, one of the main things I've noticed when you all see these people that preach to you about these different beliefs and tell you should do this and you should do that and we should do this and that, I'm gonna tell you one thing about them that you don't know. They don't say none of that to their family. I'm gonna repeat. A person that'll beat on the walls and you will not say that to their mother, does not preach any of that to their father, their siblings, nobody. They only push ideologies to strangers. They don't tell their mama none of that. They don't say none of that to their mama. Nothing. I know I'm really him. They don't say nothing when they go home to their mommy. They go, hi, mommy. These radicals that be on social media, if you monitor them, they will not be on social media during Thanksgiving or Christmas. They be back sitting around smiling and grinning with people that's just like the people they insult. Their relatives are just like the people they insult. How many people come over here talking crazy to me, but don't say nothing to their stinking daddy? Hey, daddy is a two-time loser. They don't say nothing to him. He ain't standing on nothing. He ain't bought nothing. He ain't never been about nothing. Their mama neither. Their mama ain't stood up for nothing but to get her hair done. And they come talking crazy to me. What you look like talking crazy to me? And your mommy don't believe nothing you saying. You know what I'm saying? Your mommy, your daddy ain't standing on nothing. I know this for a fact. I used to be one of the few that would take my conversation to my parents. I would take it right to the relative, right to my parents. But the rest of the brethren and people, sister and I'll be around. Hey, I've watched many of brothers. I've actually stood next to men that be outside. And we need to do this and we need to do that. About 3 or 4 hours later, I got to drop him off at home. I drop him off at home. When he walk in, I'll go in with him with his mother. He turned to a whole nother person. Hi, mommy. Now, his mommy is just like the people. All the black people have been insulted. All the women, he need telling them they need to take the perm out their hair. His mommy got perm, eating pork, all that. He come in, hi, mommy. He act like he don't see. He act like he don't see that his mom is everything he swear he hate outside. So in a group like that, getting reparations or getting anything is hard because they're not going to take it to the family. They're not going to take it to the community. They're just going to do it on this new phenomenon, this social media. Social media allows you to be faker than ever before. I, I was outside. All our teaching and all our converting people and all our trying to get black people to wear natural hair, all this, and take all them chemicals out their hair and all them chemicals off their face and their body to try to use natural stuff and try to stick together, try to build the economy, try to build a family. We had to do all that outside. And now with the internet, it opened it up for a lot of bootlegs uh, uh, to talk because they don't got to walk the walk on the internet. So it's been 250 years. The country is celebrating a birthday, but that's a 250-year debt. And black people don't want black people don't want to avenge their relatives. Black Americans are willing to let that slide. Black Americans are willing to let the history books say that they took your people, did all this to them, had them in slavery, and you didn't do nothing about it, and they never had to give you nothing. That's what the history gonna say. It's gonna say they couldn't do that to the Japanese, they had to pay them. They couldn't do that to the Jews, they had to pay them. They couldn't do that to the Native American man, they had to pay him. But the black man in America, he a punk. They ain't have to give him nothing. He's a punk. That's what the history gonna say, especially this group. Y'all gonna be the punks. Y'all is the failures if you don't get this reparations because you're the first group able to get it. My mom and daddy couldn't get it. They had to fight to be able to ride the bus and stuff like that. They fought fight. They did a good job. They're the reason you can even open your mouth at all. So now you this next group, y'all, you're supposed to come in and take it to the next level and get compensated. No. You got a black leader called Dr. Umar that say, we ain't gonna do nothing but mess the money up while he begging for money. And ain't nobody made him sit down yet. Your internet tough. Oh man, it'd be I be seeing them on this internet, they be so tough. On this internet. But outside, ain't standing on nothing. The black man in this generation became I'm going to get mine. You got to get mine. You got to get yours. He don't have no concept of the group. So it's going to go down in history that everybody got reparations except the punk black man in the 2000s. He going to be the punk. That's a fact. You're going to be the one that got an opportunity to straighten out, to right the wrongs that happened to your ancestors, something that they couldn't do. You're going to be the one that had the internet. You're the one that had the most ability to unite. Because with the internet, you can unite and be powerful. And your history going to be you got on the internet, you wasn't nothing but a bozo and a troll. And a little girl. You let people run over your ancestors and you didn't do nothing about it. Basically. So it's 250 years of a debt. Yeah. I don't know. 1526, the first enslaved Africans in the continental United States were brought by Spanish explorer Lucas Vasquez to his short-lived settlement of Miguel, South Carolina or Georgia. 1528, another notable early figure. Look, notable. Estevanico, an enslaved African who was part of the failed Spanish expedition in Florida and later explored the American Southwest. 1619, Jamestown arrival. August 1619, an English privateer ship, the White Lion, brought 20 and odd enslaved Africans to the English colony of Jamestown, Virginia. These captives were traded to the colonists for food and are widely considered the first Africans to settle permanently in the English colonies, establishing the roots of a system that rapidly expanded across North America. The institution of slavery in the United States lasted 246 years, from 1619 to 1865. 1619. So slavery lasted just as long as the country been here. 1619, the first Africans arrived in Jamestown, Virginia as servants. 1793, the invention of the cotton gin increased the demand for slaves in the South. 1820, the Missouri Compromise prohibited slavery in new Western territories. 1857, the Dred Scott decision ruled that enslaved people were not citizens and could be returned to their owners if they escaped to free states. 1865, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution ended slavery in all states. So, yeah, it's 250 years, but it's a 250-year debt that needs to get paid. I understand black people loving a country that they happen to live in and happen to take care of their children and stuff. That makes sense too. But to know about abuse that happened to your relative and let it slide is cowardly. And I'm not talking to the women because when it comes to reparations, this is what the men's supposed to be doing. This thing where the men is putting on skirts and letting the women put on the pants and go out and fight. I ain't with it. It's time for the black man to put his pants on, stand up like a man, and go right the wrong that was did to his relatives. That pain is in your DNA. You can't shake it. The only thing gonna shake it is if you purify your soul with reparations. They want to know what's wrong with the shorties. Why the shorties got so much anger? Why the family is all in disarray? It's because you letting that mistreatment manifest in you. And when you let that mistreatment manifest in you, then society feel like they could do what they want to do. So now they could put you in prisons and make you work and have you still under slavery. Because if you ain't fighting against the slavery of the past, you sure not going to fight against the current slavery in the prison system, which everybody knows is straight slavery. Everybody know there's men in there working that's really innocent. How many innocent men is in there working in the prison system? They're supposed to be doing their time, but they're making billions of dollars for somebody. How is it doing your time making somebody rich? So all they did was replace slavery with prisons. Well, this is what we do. Since they got rights, we'll start prison systems that will make it a law that once you go to prison, you don't have any rights. So your rights are gone once you go to prison. Straight back to slavery. You see the brothers that come over here trolling me all the time? Them the ones that would go try to catch you over tail if you tried to escape. That's who them are. Facts. They showing you who they are. They come over here hating for no reason. I don't know them. I ain't done nothing to them. They just hate to see me and my audience. Well, what kind of sickness is that? You know how sick you got to be to come over here hating for no reason? I don't even know you. And you know how much of a coward you got to be on the internet doing that on the internet? Teaching the babies to do that. Now the babies is on the internet hating and they going outside hurting each other because all the little brothers and stuff, you older dudes, 30, 40, 50 years old, setting a bad example for the babies. I can't say 70 because I'm the only one. I'm the only one. That's a fact. I'm in a lane by myself. So y'all need to think about that when y'all be out here all dressed up on the 4th of July. When y'all get out here with y'all red, white, and blue on, you need to think about, reparations. Are you going to avenge your ancestors? Not in a violent way, but are you going to get the compensation for your granddaddy and your great granddaddy and your great great granddaddies on both sides, and your grandmothers and your great grandmothers and your great great grandmothers and your great 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 grandmothers? You gonna just let them rest in disturbance because they couldn't be resting in peace? I don't know why you keep telling our people to rest in peace when you haven't brought no peace for them to rest into. You haven't rectified their pain and their suffering. You done blew it all. You done blew it all. They're gonna haunt you. Yeah, your ancestors gonna haunt you. Yeah, for sure. Cause they expect you to do something. They say, you know what they did to me, and you ain't doing nothing. They was taking, they was making furniture out of us and using our hair to stuff pillows and stuff chairs to sit on. I mean, it was, maybe you don't know what happened. But I could look at this picture and tell how bad it was. I see a lot when I look at this picture. This is my father's father. I could see a man trying to dress the best he could dress, try to look as dignified as he possibly could, tried to be a man, try to keep his dignity. I could see it in the picture. I could see him standing strong and still trying to maintain through whatever he was going through back in Alabama in those times, which I know was serious because Alabama was messed up when I was going down there in the 60s. So I can only imagine. And up here in Chicago, it wasn't sweet like that when I was a little boy, 10, 11, stuff like that. It wasn't like that. I speak for all the people from my generation and a little older than me. This what we was on. This how we got free. Respect to Martin Luther King and them too. They did their thing, but this the reason they didn't push them too much. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. So we need to really go get our reparations, stand up for our reparations. You can't nobody give you nothing if you don't show the government you want it. And no, when you hear that type of stuff, start naming names and stuff, that's off subject because no president can give you nothing. The only way you get anything in a country like this is you unite and you go get it and you ask for it. A closed mouth does not get fed. So a black man that ain't united and ain't asked for no reparations under no president, They need to point the finger at themselves because you need to be able to show where somebody said no. And that's nonsense. Who told you that lie? Uh, Malcolm and the NIA wasn't, and the Nation of Islam that wasn't more powerful than MLK. The Nation of Islam was nobody. Neither was Malcolm because most black people was Christians. So Malcolm didn't have no audience like the Christian church. That's all make believe. How old are you? You must be a little boy. Let me delete this false information. You know, nonsense. Yeah, Malcolm was real powerful. How'd that turn out? How was Malcolm less powerful than MLK when Malcolm got the same thing MLK got? How was he more powerful? People just read talking. I don't know what he's talking about. The black church is still where all the strength is at. They're just not exercising it. If they were to exercise their strength, the black church is the strongest. The Nation of Islam is a little bitty group compared to these weekend. It's a little group. When they go to the mosque over there on Stony Island, how many churches be full? You couldn't even get Christians in there. You couldn't get black Christians in that mosque over there on Stony Island on Sunday. So don't be just talking. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just talking. I would advise you to read up on the Deacons Up for Defense and get your knowledge together. Because all that revolutionary stuff came out of the church, not out the mosque. That came out the church. Malcolm's daddy was a revolutionary, and there wasn't no Nation of Islam. So go study, bro. Go study. I hope you every day and losing hope in the black race. Well, what you need to do is log off and go somewhere where you get what you want. I'm gonna help you out. Now, you don't have to watch me every day. See how easy that was? Go watch something gonna motivate you. See how easy that was? The reason you said I'm helping you because you weak. If you're watching me and you feel like it's something negative and you're watching me every day, what does that say about you? What kind of father you gonna be, and what kind of leader you gonna be for your family when you're watching something every day you don't like? Get your life together. That's what I tell you. And don't watch me, watch TV. You know what I'm saying? Don't watch me, watch TV. You know what I'm saying? As the great Biggie Small said, don't see my ones or see my guns. Stop watching me, boy, if you ain't learning nothing. I watch Pharaoh every day. I ain't learning nothing. And I've been watching him for 5 years straight. It's like, what the hell? Bro, change the channel and go watch something. Like, what the hell? He said, every day, Pharaoh help me be a loser. I watch Pharaoh. I can't stand him. Every day I watch him. I can't stand him. I watch him every day. I watch him every day. Every day he make me lose hope. He get up. Let me go lose hope. You know, like I tell you, man, you cannot make this up. Every day he go log in so he can lose hope and watch me. So he can, boy, I'm telling you, ooh wee, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Crazy. And I want to address all that right now and get off subject. But I can tell the young brothers the idea of fighting, the idea of fighting the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, you know, that's not the bright like that. Yeah, okay. I'm going to cry because you leaving. Internet. That's the deal, though. Y'all got to push for reparations. The country is going to be 250 years old, and the debt is 250 years old. And what we going to do about it? Now, this is the perfect time to push reparations and to use the amount of time to say that the bill's overdue. Okay, it's 250 years. Okay, cash the check. Where's the check? If the country's 250 years old and you've been owing us, where's the check? You understand? Where's the check? That's all I'm saying. I'm just, listen, let me explain something to you. What's going on with this live? Let's talk about that right quick. We do want reparations. We're delineating, describing ourselves as foundational Black Americans. We're pushing lineage, and we're supposed to be pushing reparations, but it's not. It's weak. And so what I'm doing is I'm noticing that reparations is weak, that it's not being discussed, and I'm taking time on my day every so often to discuss reparations because to me it's not being mentioned thoroughly enough. So that's what this live stream is about. Every so often, I'm going to be mentioning reparations because I don't feel it's being discussed. Now, I got a lot of people want to say I said something wrong, but tell me I'm wrong about that. Am I wrong about that? If for those that do want reparations, not you haters, do you feel reparations is getting any type of attention from us? Do you feel we're doing a good job at asking for reparations? Do y'all think we're doing a good job? Go on YouTube and scroll and show me anybody out talking about reparations. I'm just saying. Even if you're not for reparations, do you think the people that's for reparations is doing a good job? Because I don't. I absolutely don't. It's not mentioned. It's one of them things they're going to wait till the last minute when a president is running like the last 5 months of a presidency and bring it up. I don't be seeing it nowhere. The only person that I be seeing standing on it is Yvette, and I'll say Tyreek standing on it but he's dealing with it from a different angle that people really ain't picking up what he really doing. He's trying to get lineage going. That's why I said Tyreek is on it. Him and Yvette. But but where's everybody else? No, the black man, he can't wait for the NBA finals. That's it. That's all he think about. He jump around like he really want, like he won. Even though the players is broke 10 years after they quit playing. Broke. And the only ones really having any type of foundational wealth from sports is the team owners. They the only ones passing down wealth to the family. The players, they make a lot of money, but they don't have a good retirement plan, and they live more than they can afford to live when they retire. So while they plan, they get a lifestyle that can't that they can maintain somewhat of what they got, but when they retire, they're not going to be able to maintain them mansions and all that cars and stuff. Then sometimes they're not that educated, like Floyd Mayweather, who is absolutely broke. Let them people steal everything he got. This is sports. And when it's all said and done, we doing all this cheering for these boxers and all that stuff. They end up broke. None of the money comes to the community. None of the money does anything for us at all from no sports, no nothing. We don't get nothing from it. When you go to a sporting event, you go in there, it's the big arena, go around, and it's all the vendors. Some people, ain't none of them black. There don't be no, man, the percentage of people on the court that's black compared to the percentage of people selling and making money in the arenas, do they match? Do the vendors at the game match the workers on the floor playing the sport or on the field? Just look at it. All you gotta do is look at it. Like I took my grandson to see 50 Cent like last year. Man, it wasn't a black person selling nothing in there. The whole merch, all the merch vent was clearing. They was selling out. There wasn't no, there was nobody black selling the beer, selling the liquor, selling the food, selling the merch. We was nowhere getting none of the money. The only black people that was getting the money is 50 Cent and the people work for him, which is great. They getting money. But we haven't got to the point where we get none of the money off of that stuff like that. Not a quarter. We just want to go to the game, but we don't want to make no money at the game. And so when you think like me, relationships is hard because a woman gonna want to be with somebody that like to run around and play and buy ice cream and play. And I don't really like to do that. So we Mitch Mac Patty Whack give a dog a bone because I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do it. A lot of times I'm just out there protesting by myself. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully on this social media and this YouTube I could change. I don't be talking about the black man a lot coming up because I got to get the black man in order because he trolls too much and he argues too much to be a businessman. He's got to get himself together. We're never going to be able to have a business or nothing until you get yourself together. You got to get yourself together to be fit enough to work together to build something for black people. A lot of white men, the reason they really don't like us because they sick of us leeching off of whites. They looking at us like, now y'all have been over here long enough to do your own thing. What's going on? But see, you want to act like it's all racism. It's not all racism. They looking at you as a goofy. They saying we white, we get together, we do stuff. We don't want to keep paying y'all. We gonna pay our own white people. We're not gonna do all this work while you sit around and caca and kiki and play and we working our ass off. And then you want to come and get paid. Because ain't none of these corporations running by themselves. People working hard. People working hard for this stuff, but you don't understand. I guess you just think it's just there. I guess you think YouTube is just there. Nike's just there. All these businesses is just there. No, people got to work hard. Start a business, you'll see. Start a business. I bet you ain't going to do no 9 to 5. I bet you ain't going to. Boy, you not going to work no 8 hours. The least you're going to work is 10 hours a day. The least. Some days, man, you're going to work 15, 16 hours and knock a lot of stuff out so you could kind of come to work late the next day. Because things got to be done when they got to be done. It's not like working for a job where they have everything ready for you. And so we got to make some changes. Because it don't make no sense that the black man ain't standing up for reparations and asking for reparations and pushing reparations. That don't even make no man. That don't make no sense, man. It really don't. All that money just laying on the table. They just leaving it there. People robbed your relatives and all that money is sitting in them banks and you just let them keep it. Not only did they rob them, they reinvested and made profits off of the wages they didn't pay. Flipped your ancestors' money and became billionaires and trillionaires. And won't even pay you the original investment money back. Because the rich people then rob so many of their own people that if they give you reparation, their own people going to start crying and get mad because they're robbing them too. This is why so many white Americans don't want us to get reparations because corporate America then robbed them. So now if we get a big payout, they're going to cry like little babies because they've been robbed. They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing like that. Only the ones that's in the circle of the corporations is getting all the money. The rest of them getting pennies. and losing their jobs because they bringing in computers and AI and stuff and replacing their own people. So what you think gonna happen to black people if you don't get together, get your reparations, and start building a foundation when white Americans are finna be replaced by AI? And here's white Americans, and here's you. Here's the bosses. Here's white America, and here's us. And they're gonna replace them. So they're gonna keep us. And see, this why I don't do the white stuff. Because the white stuff, that's not really it. It's corporations. White people don't control corporations. Just a handful control corporations. The rest of white America is just workers. So those workers are the ones that fight against us because they working every day and they don't want you to get none unless you could work as hard as they work, but they getting robbed. So they angry. So somebody that's working every day, somebody's got to pay those type of property taxes. Somebody who farm fell off last year and didn't have a good yield and is barely making it in debt. Of course they're gonna be against you getting reparations because they ain't doing so well. That's what that's all about. That's why you see them trolling on TikTok and stuff when we say reparations. That's where that anger come from. Because they not doing no well and they think you're asking for a handout. And you got to understand that a lot of white America is uneducated because they don't teach certain information. A lot of information that blacks know, we went and read on our own about our history and about what's going on with us. They haven't read that information. So they in the dark. Typically, black Americans that study know more than white Americans overall because we study white America and black America. But white Americans only study white America. So they don't know as much as we know. They don't study. And to them, they don't want to because they don't want to read the bad side of their history. We want to read it all. They don't want to read the bad stuff they did, which is still knowledge in there. So they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that knowledge. They don't know that much like that. They've been more, the biggest brainwashed people in the United States is white Americans. They're the most brainwashed. That's why Russians looking at them crazy and others look at them crazy. Like, y'all really believe this stuff that they teaching all over in America? That's why the other white countries be looking at white America. They don't really like them because they've been brainwashed. They don't know the facts. That's a fact. They don't know. They're not good at math or nothing like that. On racism and hate and stuff and not liking another person, messing white America up. They taking the L. They slow. Imagine you be a white American and you against reparations when reparations gonna make you hella money. But you so caught up that it's black people, you can't see that once there's money on the table, you could get some. If they holding the money up here, the billionaires and stuff, if they throw the money down to the black Americans, now you could get some money. There's more money for you to get. There's more cars for you to sell. There's more mink coats for you to sell. There's more housing for you to do construction, landscape, whatever you do, you can go get money now. Because you can't get money if the customers ain't got no money. So if the government give a bunch of blacks who are customers too money, if you're a white businessman, how stupid you got to be to not want your customers to have a lot of money? You know how stupid you got to be? I said all the time, if I was a white man, I sure won't Man, I need that. I'm going to lay more carpets and all that. It's going to take black people at least 3 years to catch up with some of these businesses. Of course, black people going to open a lot of those businesses and service their own people. But that's going to take some time. So I'm looking at the auto industry. I'm like, why the auto industry ain't pushing reparations? What's wrong with them? Are they crazy? The housing industry, the auto industry, the clothing industry. And then white America, that's more jobs, that's more money for you. No, you sitting there letting all your clothes, your malls close, all your businesses going out of business when the biggest stimulus check for the United States, everybody in the United States would be reparations for black Americans, would be the biggest stimulus check that everybody in America ever seen. Everybody in the country would benefit because money's made to be spent and it's going to get spent. And all you got to do is go get some. That's it. So sometimes hate destroys you, like, you know. That's like saying something stupid like, we're going to give it all back to the white man. Listen, man, I need a garage. And whoever going to build a garage is going to build a garage. What are you talking about? I'm not giving it away to a white man. I'm giving it away to get a garage. Okay? Hello? Duh. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Get your money and start building garages, fool. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm a hustler, right? So, okay, if y'all, let's say y'all gonna get reparations, I'm thinking I'm gonna open up some businesses that y'all gonna want to spend with. Duh. Am I right? Like, duh. Am I right? If they say, if y'all gonna get reparations, I'm gonna start looking at what's gonna be selling. I'm gonna be investing in certain stocks. They're gonna go up. And I'm gonna be trying to have products to service these people that's getting all this money. That's gonna be a win for me, even if I don't get no reparations. I'm gonna get the trickle down money. I'm gonna have more money than I got before that. I don't understand. That's why America's getting behind the Asians when they're hustling in the business. Because America ain't standing on no business. These white dudes supposed to go out there and tell these white rulers supposed to tell these white people, hey, reparations is good. Trust me. Just go get your business in order. You're gonna make money. Everybody gonna make money. Everybody, reparations gonna be the greatest thing for all Americans because you can't get nothing that ain't there. So if the government puts some money there, now you can get it. You can't get it if it ain't there. White America is supposed to be the main ones. They supposed to be making us ask for reparations. They got all the stores. I don't understand. How much more money McDonald's, Burger King, and all them gonna make if people get reparations? The steakhouses, the hotels, the airlines, the trucking industry. How many dudes gonna go buy rigs? You know how many trucks they got? Listen, a lot of people when they get money, they get even more tighter. So a lot of men, when they get that money, boy, they gonna put that money up. They're gonna buy them a rig. and they're gonna go make some money. Everybody, yeah, whoever. A lot of people gonna get rich, and a lot of people gonna live comfortable because everybody don't want to be rich. So we got people out there. They're gonna spend theirs. They're gonna put their feet up with some lemonade with their house, and they're gonna be cool. Because a lot of people live on the thing is that you can't take it with you. So a lot of people live based on can't take it with you. A lot of people like you can't take it with you. They finna live, which I would agree to that to a certain extent. Inheritance is good, but sometimes you leave money to a dummy that loses it anyway. You might as well lost it yourself. If I get a lot of money and I save it, I pass it down to my son and he jag it off. I could have did that. I should have did it. If you were gonna throw it away, I done left you this money. And 3 years later, you broke. You Floyd Mayweather the third. You know what I'm saying? I might, you know what I'm saying? Blacks gonna benefit too, though. Blacks gonna benefit too. Blacks gonna benefit. Not just the blacks that get the money, but the blacks that know how to make some money gonna make more money. The 420 man gonna come up. The liquor store gonna come up. Whatever you got, if you got something people want, no matter what race you are, if you got something people want to buy, you gonna come up. It ain't gonna have nothing to do with no race. It's gonna have to do with what product you providing. This is a fact. Content creators, we're gonna be getting $100, $100, $100, like it ain't nothing. You gonna do a live, you get through, you're gonna have $3,000 every live. I ain't lying. Be right on here. Hit the super chat, PayPal, Venmo. You know what I'm saying? Gonna be popping. I'm just telling you. I know. Come on, man. What the hell? I don't know. America's slow. When you live in a financial ecosystem and you throw money down there, it's gonna circulate. You're not really giving black people money. You're handing it to them, but your reparations is gonna hand us a debt that'll be wiped out. That's a good thing. If you believe in a God or something, maybe some of your destruction might not happen. That's another conversation. Maybe some of the karma that America got coming from what they did in slavery, you know, alligators and babies and all that. Maybe you want to get that dark shadow from over your head. I don't know. Yeah, people got their stimulus and spent it all because there wasn't no money. They was already in debt. People already in debt. By the time you pay your back debt and then pay your current bills, you ain't got nothing. A lot of times, the person in the family get extra money. They give some of it away. So I make some good money. I send my son 300, my daughter's 300 a piece. You know what I'm saying? I throw them a little blessing. They young, they working, they trying to come up. They got jobs, they making money, but everybody be happy to get an extra $300. So a lot of times, if I get a little break and I get a little extra money, I send my offspring some money. That's what they got. That's what they got elders in the family for. Then hopefully, when they get up older, they look out for the younger ones the same way. Spread the love. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? On my soul. Spread the love. So that's what I got to say about reparations. That's what I got to say about the 250th birthday of the United States. That's a 250-year debt. So they need to make that happen. Feel me? So that's what it is. Reparations now.
This is 13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number 1, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, 2 predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number 2, New York Life. An insurance company sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number 3, Wachovia. 2 historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Number 4, N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. I have a list of this, so if I stumble, it's because I have a lot of chicken scratch. Number 4, Norfolk Southern offered slaveholders $180. That's $3,379 today. This article was written in 2013. So that's $3,379 today a piece for enslaved Africans they would rent to the railroad for 1 year. The Central Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued slaves at $31,303. Today that would be $663,033. Did I say that right? Yes. $663,033. Hopefully that came out right. Sounds weird. Number 5. U.S. Today found that their parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, had links to the slave trade. Number 6. Fleet Boston evolved from an early financial institution. Providence Bank founded John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. The bank financed Brown's slave voyages and profited from them. Brown even reportedly helped charter what became Brown University. Number 7. CSX used slave labor to construct portions of U.S. rail lines under the political and legal system that was in place more than a century ago. 2 enslaved Africans were John Henry and Reuben. The record states they were to be returned clothed when they arrived to work for the company. Number 8. Canadian National Railway Company. The Mobile and Ohio, now part of Canadian National, valued their slaves lost to the war and emancipation at $199,691 on record. That amount is currently worth $2.2 million. Whew. Number 9, Brown Brothers Harriman, the oldest and largest private investment bank, founded 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Number 10, Brooks Brothers, high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothes to various slave traders in the 1800s. They got their start by selling slave clothes. Number 11, Barclays, British multinational banking and financial services company headquartered in London, has now conceded that companies brought over the years may have been involved in the slave trade. Number 12, Lehman Brothers. This business empire started in the slave trade. Quote from Joe Pelizzotto: "This is a sad part of our history or our heritage. We're deeply apologetic. It was a terrible thing. There's no one sitting in the United States in the year 2005, hopefully, who would ever in a million years defend the practice." 13, Aetna. Aetna? Aetna. U.S. largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. Aetna has long acknowledged that for several years shortly after its founding in 1853, that the company may have insured the lives of slaves. A few other a few other corporations, companies that profited from slavery: Princeton, Harvard Law School, Tiffany & Co., Bank of America, Yale University, and Wells Fargo.
My poll tax certificate from 1960, when we had to pay $2 or $3 to vote, and we only made $2 or $3. So you had to choose between eating or voting. That was the suppression back in the 60s. If you missed one year, they doubled it up on you the next year. I didn't have to pay because I was a veteran. So this is my exemption certificate, but I had to show it. So when they say you don't have to show ID, we've been showing ID since we started voting.